As crazy as it looks, it works for the tag. So I'm going to just keep doing it, man. All right, B, I'm going to get you in. Hey, Kishma. You're gonna love the guest.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. What's going on, Maxie?
Nothing much, Big V. I'm excited.
I'm
I'm
excited.
excited.
I'm excited as well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me.
And
Thank you for
I see
joining
you
me.
came with the green, so you came brain dead.
Green.
That's my
Yes, for
color.
Big V. You know, it's only right. It's
I
only
got a
right.
little right here, a little right here. It's always something green on me. So, I
Little
try to
raspberry.
when I'm doing business for the most part. I got something green.
Ain't your blinds in the background green?
Yeah. The plan
It's
is
the brand.
green. It's just the brand. I got your brand covered on a little bit with pink.
See, I appreciate that. I appreciate it. But you flossing though, so it's all good. You flossing.
Girl, look at you. They money on this side just compliment each other. Like, look at
Hyping
you.
each other up. That's how it's supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to be.
Right, this is
So,
it.
like, people don't even, we won't get into the whole lesson just yet, but people don't even know, like, how many months have we known each other so far?
I would say maybe 2 months. It probably about 2 months. Maybe like probably beginning of like the whole shutdown. So I wouldn't say
It's been
beginning
more than,
of March. I would say probably June. End of May, June. So what's that? 2 months? 3 months?
no, I think, okay, so I think maybe at least 3 months.
Maybe it probably has been
Oh, well,
longer
it
than
is
3 months.
May, June, July, August. We about to be
Yeah,
August.
it's 3 months.
Yeah,
It's been 3 months. It feels like it's been longer than that though.
it feels way longer.
Mm-hmm.
But I be telling people to shoot your shot. If you see somebody that I put this on mute, if you see somebody that you aspire to work with or something, bro, hop in their DMs. Everybody doing the same thing right now during the pandemic. So if you
True.
have someone that you
True.
aspire to rock with,
Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Kiana J. She tapping in.
hey,
But just another amazing woman entrepreneur out here. So if you need
hey,
some hairstyling for your content, shoot, holler at Kiana J. So
yes,
yeah, like you shot your shot, and what I really like most is your energy. You know, you sent me a voice memo, so I'm like, wow, okay. It made me want to talk to you, like, okay. And then when we actually talked, it was just like a good energy. It was like a good flow. And we really didn't even know what it was about to be. We're like, hey, so let's do this, let's do that. It kind of
mm-hmm.
just flowed on how we, how we just meshed. So I think,
Exactly.
and it's just been nothing but love and support ever since then.
Exactly. And I think that's just what's so funny in the pandemic. I tell people, a lot of things that, people didn't count on. I don't want to get into theories, but they didn't expect Black people to heal through this. We planting, we singing, we're forgiving others. Like, y'all couldn't have bet on that. So
I think that
you
it's a bad time for big business, like uh, like big companies, but for small businesses, certain small business, not everyone. And my heart goes out to anyone that's suffering during this pandemic. But a lot of businesses have grown. It's been a lot of growth during this time. So I think that no one knew what to expect, but I think people did what resonated with them. And honestly, I didn't know what to expect. I kind of was like, The first week, I kind of just was like, okay. And then I was like, okay, well, what can I do? And then because none of us planned for it. We didn't know it was coming. So it was like, oh yeah, I'm about to plan this up because I had something completely different, for that time of the year. So for that to happen and then for things to just keep flowing and going, it just was one thing after another, So
yeah.
I didn't have a big plan for this. It just kind of happened. And honestly, this has been like probably one of the most enjoyable times of my life.
Yeah.
Just especially when it comes to business and just meeting people and just watching it flow. That doesn't mean it's been easy this whole time, like you don't go through anything. But when you think about like all the different things that happen and the connections, the good, it definitely outweighs the bad for sure.
Exactly, exactly. And that's one of the things that just really attracts me to you as a coach and as a leader in the marketing industry. Your outlook, I don't even know if it's like a lifestyle or outlook, but just the way you remain positive. Like you said, I didn't not go through anything. I went through the same pandemic that everybody else is
Yeah,
going through right now. But your attitude about what you were going through made you ready when you weren't even ready. Does that make sense?
for
Like,
sure, for sure.
say what your nail tech told them, when the business popped off and stuff during the pandemic.
You said say one more time. I'm sorry.
About your nail tech,
The nail tech. Oh shoot,
she was like,
we gotta
you
remember.
had everything lined up
Oh,
like
my
you
brow
knew.
tech. My brow
Your
tech.
brow tech,
Yeah,
okay.
okay. That was like my nail tech. I'm like, okay, yeah, my brow tech. Shout out to Brow God. She was just like, it just seemed like you knew exactly what to do when this pandemic happened. And I was like, wow, because sometimes when you're moving so much, you forget how you look through other people's eyes. And social media is something else. I'm not saying that I wasn't working because I definitely was, but for people to notice it and to see it and to look at it like it just flowed. Like I said, I didn't come out with a plan. I kind of just was ready. And I think that like when you prep when you actually do the work and you prepare just throughout life, like life prepared me for this. I can't say like I studied for this. None of us can say that. But when the time came, I'm like, it's trial and error. What can I do? What will work? What are people looking for? I ask questions. I communicate with my audience. Um, I Google. I just see what's going on. I pay attention, and I also study my craft. But I definitely didn't have the answers. And like I say, there's no rule book to this. So I kind of just did what worked for me. And when it worked for me, I'm like, okay, well, maybe it can work for somebody else. So, it's just all about knowing, knowing your craft, doing, and then sharing it, and obviously making it something of profit because we're not doing this for no reason. So, and just getting out there. You really just have to do it. I
Exactly.
and it not even just go there, but I know it's been times where, like, especially in the past and early on in my career, where I felt like, oh, I'm not ready, or I got to know everything. You really feel like, like, man, I wonder if that person know it all. They look like they know it all. No, they actually out here
Exactly.
trying to figure it out. They learning and they're going. They're invested in themselves and they're sharing what they've learned with other people. That's what it's all about.
Exactly. And I feel like that's almost like the signature recipe that people sleep on. Consistency and just being authentic to who you are will take you so far. I tell people all the time, that's your superpower.
Yeah,
Unless you're a twin, you're not gonna walk up on somebody on the street and be like, dang, is that the bad thing? It's only one brand therapist. You feel me? It's only one Maxie.
you better
And
tell.
so if you walk with that energy, like it's only one of me, you move a little bit different,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And you see things in a different light.
yeah.
So for those who, oh, I'm
Go
sorry,
ahead.
go
I'm
ahead.
listening.
For those who don't know you, please explain to them who the brand therapist is if they've been asleep. Introduce them to the folks who have never met you before.
Like I'm just a small fry. No, just kidding. But I work with brands, small businesses, medium businesses, large businesses, and I help them really develop some creative marketing and branding strategies to help them stand out for one, lay a great foundation and convert. And I guess that's pretty much my story. I would say in my field, I feel like each client is so different. And I know we can make things a lot very generic in marketing or in business, but each client is so different. So I have a different experience with each of them. So a different side of my creativity come out with each person. So definitely just working with them, seeing what's feeling their energy, um, see if our energy meshing well, see what they want, their goals, point out a couple, pain areas, and we go from there. What do you want to reach? What do you want to do? But one thing I do, my favorite type of client is the working. I always say I love working with the working because if you're a client and you're not going to do the work, you're just going to, I'm not doing this just to get a check. I'm doing this to see results, help you see results because that way we all win. So if you're a client that's going to work, put the work in, we're going to go through these strategies, we're going to go through these different things. Oh, I can work with you all day because I'm like, wow, they actually are understanding what I'm saying and it's
Yeah,
working. And then sometimes we go through stuff and we see, like, okay, that didn't work. We come back to the drawing board. So, it's all, it takes two. It takes two to work. So, for sure.
and that's one thing that you definitely taught me when it came to clients.
Mhm.
Like, make sure you get people who moving out there. We not babysitting,
Yeah.
okay?
Oh no.
That's a whole nother profession. We don't babysit in marketing.
I
So
had my
that's what we
babysitting
fix.
days, and
Yeah.
it took me a long time to realize I was like, I'm running your company. I'm the
Mhm.
CEO. So it took me
Exactly.
a while to understand what my limitation, like how far I would go, my boundaries in business. And you
Mhm.
have to kind of, that's something you can teach people, but they have to go through their own things to understand what's enough for them. Just like in any relationship, any business, like, okay, well, that's where I draw the line. Or this is the kind of customer I want to work with, or this is my ideal client. You don't know really until you go out there. And that's what I say about your target audience too. You think that, oh, my target audience is this thing, until you get out there, you see like, oh, it's not. It's another kind of
That's
client.
not. Yeah.
So we can,
Exactly.
we can guesstimate all day, but you have to really put the work in and really go out there and get your feet wet to see what's for you. Because before that, you won't know. So it's all about the experience. You learn. You're constantly learning. There's, like you said, there's no course in college that can teach you everything. There's no ebook that can teach you everything, but it can spark something in you that can help you, get further in your career. So.
Exactly. And one thing that you said was really important. Hey guys, for y'all who are just
Well, I know,
tuning
like,
in.
hey, girl.
So for the people, when you say, and you have to learn how to set boundaries,
Hmm.
if they're a new entrepreneur, what ways would you advise them even going about that? That's such a touchy subject.
I really like being very transparent about what's expected on both ends when I do my consultations. So I like to know, what do you want and what do you expect of me, and I'm going to tell you what I can do for you. That way, when we're working, we'll know who's responsible for what. And I had to learn that because before, like I was I'm not going to front, like I just always had the contracts and I just knew sometimes I was just getting paid to do marketing,
Yeah.
so as I got, further into my career and I got older, I'm like, okay, listen, it needs to be, this is what I'm going to do for you, and this is what you have to do. And if we can come to some form of agreement, that's what's going to work. So that's how I set the boundaries, really through my paperwork. That's what set the boundaries right there. Like, you see here, you signed there, and this is what I said I would do, and I did
Yeah.
it. So this is what you wanted, and this is what you said you would do. So it's definitely an agreement. The contracts are very important with clients, so they can know what to expect, and they won't just hit you. Well, I thought, and they can't just tell you anything. Well, this is what I told you you're going to get from me. But it took me to go through different things to develop those type of systems for myself.
Exactly. Exactly. It's Carell's birthday, so happy
Happy
birthday,
birthday,
Carell.
Carell.
Yes.
Hello, Brianna. That's the next one. That's my
So,
cousin. She's actually in high school. She's an entrepreneur herself. You adore Breezy. She does everything: hair, nails, purses, and I admire that so much because it's just like to have that kind of go about yourself, to be young. That says a lot about you. Because if I knew, I mean, I don't know, if I look at it, well, if I knew what I knew then, what I know now, I'd probably be a lot further. But this new age
right.
generation, they have the internet. They have a lot to see. They're able to reach a lot of different things than I was able to. And we're not even that many years apart, but it's a huge difference in what
Yes.
what time can do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We shouting out folks. So you adore Breezy. Go ahead, girl. We are rooting for you. That's super awesome. Keep
Yeah,
going. Keep pushing it.
tune in, because we're gonna be sharing
Yes.
some good stuff. Tune in. If you got questions too, like, be sure to ask. I don't know if it's
Yep.
at the last part or something, but
No, no. If y'all have any questions, go ahead and ask them for sure.
no,
Skillfully yours, Honey Fashions. That's my sunshade lady.
yes,
Every time I have my shades on,
for sure.
we be like, "Oh, where'd you get your shades from?"
I love some
Yes.
sunglasses. I love sunglasses, glasses.
Yeah.
So I had to check her out for sure.
So thank you all for tuning in. We're talking about how to balance life and business as an entrepreneur. Because what some people don't necessarily think about when they start a business is like, okay, I'm gonna make this much money, I'm gonna sell this, or I'm gonna be able to dress cute. There's all these different things that go through their minds, their why of why they want to start the business, right? But one thing I think nobody ever factors in is like, but even when life is hard, I'm still gonna have to run my business. That's always something that you just kind of, it goes over your head.
I,
So how important is it balancing, being able to balance life just happening and being an entrepreneur?
one thing is important is, even though we are entrepreneurs, we are human. So sometimes I work on allowing myself that time, because if I'm not at my best, I can't serve people. So if I need a day to get my mind right, I allow myself that time. That doesn't mean I don't have systems in place that's going to help me through it. But I try to show up at my best. So whenever I'm not, feeling at my best, I do things to get me there. So whether that's meditation, whether it's yoga, whether that's running, because I don't, at this moment in my life, I'm my business, I'm my brand. So there's
Yep.
not employees that can run it while I'm not there. That's the goal. That's what we're all working to get to. So when we have a bad day, we have a headache, or we just say, I want to go on vacation, we could do so. But right now, you have to allow yourself first that time to be able to go through what you're going through, because you're not going to be good to anybody. And energy is very transferable, and people can pick up on it even though it's digital. So you want to say, hey, okay, you know what, today is not such a good day. Maybe I'll go ahead and I'll send my few automated emails or my texts, and I'll do a few posts, but I know how to back. And if you have clients that day,
Yeah.
I try to keep them, but I try to give my energy to the best of my ability to where they won't feel it. So we're
Yeah.
human, we still go through things. So I think that the best thing to do is to allow yourself that moment, and then do the things that can get you back there. So that's all we can do, because I don't think that sometimes you have to, if the pressure is there, you have an event that day, you have to turn it on. You got to be able to turn it on, turn it off, and then get home and maybe do whatever you got to do, cry in the shower, pray, however it is. But when the pressure's on, you got to show up. It's just what it is. You can't crumble. People done paid you their money. They're here to see you perform. And you got to perform. I'm pretty sure a lot of millionaires, entertainers have had bad days, have to still show up on set. They still have to show up and go do their concert, unless they physically can't do it. You just have to do it. Think about even just going to work, when people don't want to go to work every day. They like, oh, I got to get out the bed. I got to do this. They still have to show up, because guess what? They have bills. They have children. They have responsibilities. They have things they have to do. Hello, Melanin Queens. So it's just a thing that we have to do. Whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a 9 to 5er, we have to show up. But allow yourself, whenever you can get that space to be able to internalize your feelings and do that, because you won't be doing anybody good. So you have to make sure that, to me, what's very important is to make sure that you make that time when you can, and then get to it and work on yourself to get back to where you need to be, so you can show up as your best self.
Exactly. That duality is so important.
Mm-hmm.
The grace to say, okay, I can allow myself to experience this and go through this with the freedom to, because the cool thing about being an entrepreneur is that flexibility and freedom to kind of say, well, this is how I'm going to handle things and this is how I'm going to do things. So give yourself grace to do that as well. But also, learn to have that bounce back ability, because major things will happen in life. But small little things, you can't keep letting those things knock you down. My dad always says, it's not personal, baby, it's business.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you need to be able to know the difference. Is this business or is it personal?
Yeah.
And if this is business and it hurt my feelings, but this is a business fact, then it is what it is.
Yeah.
If this is something that's life, you have to decide how to put things in each little compartment of where they're supposed to be. Don't give your emotions or your attitude or your ego more weight than your legacy, you know what I'm saying, and your business of that day. You have valuable things you need to do.
Yeah. And learning a self-check is something that you develop. A lot of times we don't self-check because I don't know, I wasn't taught to self-check. I don't know if a lot of people were, but we just like, am I taking this personally? Is it a personal attack against me, or is this really just business? And you can put that in personal in business. You have to be able to separate yourself. People's actions are a result of what's going on in their life. Everything isn't about you or about us or about what's going on. So you have to be able to separate that and being intelligent enough. I think just being emotionally intelligent, just period, is probably one of the most important factors of just being human, being in business. You have to know, like, okay, that's not for me. That's not something I'm going to take with me. That's not something I'm going to internalize. Because if we internalize everything that people say to us and do, or things that happen, we would never get anywhere, because that's a lot to carry. That's a lot to carry. So let it go in one way, go out the other, you know.
Yes,
For sure.
uh, I have a little slogan, light heart, heavy bags. Like, keep a light heart about your business. You can't be so swayed by everything that's going on. And it's like, heavy bags. Focus on the things that's, you know, thank you,
Thanks,
Jazz Girl.
Jazz.
Focus on the things that make you feel good. You know what I'm saying? Don't focus on, well, somebody did something. If somebody did something in your business, it's all good. You got heavy bags. You're still gonna get to that money.
Check it
Don't be
off.
so beat up about stuff that people saying or doing, or because that's just small pieces. You can't let that impact your legacy.
Yeah, and it's things that even just now when people say things go wrong in business, you plan for something and it can go completely different. And you have to be able to say like, okay, what is this telling me? I always say, what is the universe trying to tell me? Maybe I'm rushing something, or maybe I need to slow it down, because at this point it's out of my control. We have to know what we can control and what we can't control. And I think that
Exactly.
I had to learn what not to stress over. Like, that's something I can't control. It's out of my control. I only can show up and do what I do. And if things are off schedule, it's just something. It's just what it is. How are you going to fix it? I try not to
Right.
focus on the what happened. I just try to focus on how, okay, what can we do next to get me to where I need to be? Because that's the main priority now. Because things happen. Things happen. Just think about it. Like, people get married, things happen that day. A lot of major events is always something that you think is going to go
Yeah.
perfectly, and it goes, hey Dion, it goes and completely, hey Javea, it goes a different way. So you have to be able to adjust. You have to be able to bounce back. Have that moment for a second to understand what it is, and then say, okay, what can I do to get to the next step? Hey,
Exactly.
Ashley.
Exactly. Hey, y'all. And it's all about just taking that time to like just woosah. There's nothing in life that you're gonna be able to have control over. As much as you think you have control, you don't. You're just praying for the best, but you
Right?
prepare for the worst because you don't know what's gonna happen.
No.
And I think that's the same of when you're in a spot and you're like, well, this isn't how I planned. Well, maybe you're being planted for something else.
Yeah.
Some people like feel like, oh, I'm in a dark time. What's going to happen? This is not what I expected. But everything that needs to grow needs to be planted. So you have to essentially be in that dark spot where it's like, okay, this is unfamiliar territory.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's when you're getting planted and getting rooted for something that's really what you ready and you need to be ready to walk into, you
Yeah,
know?
for sure. I always say that things happen for us and not to us. And I think we just got to take the time to understand and allow the universe to work. But we get impatient, and like, even with me, I get like, oh, this is how I want it to go and this is how I want it to be. And I'm still learning to let go of that kind of control, and still telling myself to have a deeper and a better understanding of life, so I can be okay with when things aren't going the way that I want to go. So I think that's helped me tremendously. Just being able to have your mind right. That's why I say emotional intelligence, period, in business and personal, is of utmost importance. So the more you get to know yourself in this, like personally, the better you are in business. Because if you don't know yourself, a lot of things will be able to sway you, knock you off your square, um, just get you to just not be able to be focused. And as a business owner, how important it is for things not to really bother you. Because if I'm thinking about things that bother me or problems, it's taking up creativity time. It's taking up, like, when I'm there with a client, I'm not really focused. I'm thinking about what's going wrong or something that's irritating me. So it's important that I keep positive people around me, positive thoughts, and I'm also giving off good energy too as well. So you just gotta, it's just a thing you work on every day. It's like, you're not gonna be perfect at it, but as long as you get like to the point to where you can reroute your thinking, um it's definitely a plus. And I think a good book for that, like, is, honestly, it may sound cliche, it's The Secret. So that was one of the books that helped me to understand how to control my thinking.
I have yet to read The Secret. So I'm gonna sit
Wow.
down and actually,
Yeah,
yes,
read it.
yes.
Read it. Like, your mind is so powerful. Then it just sparked me to get into other books and books after that. So it's definitely a good book to understand your mind and understand your thoughts. Like, you're gonna have, the thing about it, negative thoughts are always there. They never leave. It's the yin and the yang. But learning how to block those out and put the positive thoughts there is really what gives you that balance. Is really what gives you to get you to the next level. So they never leave. So I would say the more you're not working towards where you're supposed to be in life, a lot of those negative thoughts come about, and it stops you from hitting your goals, doing the things you want to do. But the more you're working towards your goals, the more you're doing better. You see, you just gradually just do better. So if you don't have anything to block out those negative thoughts, you probably, will fall into that place and not getting things done, not being productive, or not being where you want to be. So I feel like as long as we continue to work on ourselves, um, life just gets a little bit better. And that doesn't mean you're going, hey Olivia, hey Kayla, doesn't mean you're not going to go through anything, but you just know how to react. You know how to get your mind right. So whatever that is for you. Like I said, for me, it's tea, meditation, exercising. It doesn't come easy. You definitely got to work for it. That's another thing I want to talk about too, because people always think like it's just like you're gonna wake up one day and be motivated. Like it don't work like that.
No.
When you want to be motivated, you have to do things that make you happy to get there.
No.
Like, I mean, you can wake up and be happy all day, but like sometimes you lose your motivation. Sometimes you lose creativity, and you have to do things to get yourself back there. I learned that like you have to do the things like, okay, let me do the steps that I know that gets me to where I need to be.
And I think that's like that commitment that you have to
Hey
take to
Trey.
get to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're walking in your purpose and things are working for you, it's like you can't stop walking into a blessing,
That's true.
But it's like when you're having friction and it's like your mental is off, it seems like you're fumbling the ball, you're fumbling the bag, so essentially, like you said, you just have to wake up and say, I'm committed to being my best version
Right.
today. Like self, I'm gonna work hard for you. I love that Will Smith quote when he was like, love is telling yourself no to certain things, even when you want them bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's conquering those temptations, it's conquering those bad times to say, okay, we're gonna reach the next level. We still
Yeah.
gonna push through,
That's
you
really,
know.
yeah.
And one thing that you do that's really well that most people may not even know is you lead by example. Some people may not have a sneak peek to you, but one thing that you do is what you say to your clients, to your friends, to your business partners. You show those same actions.
Of
And
course.
that's why I'm like, dang, I rock with her because it's like, I don't say, go be positive, and then I hear you cussing people out, just
Oh,
because it's
no.
not your client.
Mm-hmm.
You keep that same energy. I'm going to remain positive because I'm committed to being a better version of myself,
Right. Right.
So
Well,
one thing
thank
that
you.
you're, yes, and I mean that. Like one thing that you do every day is you run
Right.
or bike or some type of physical activity,
Right.
but you make sure that you strengthen yourself not only mentally but physically.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a tag for that you call mind, body, soul, bank. Okay.
Woo-hoo.
So tell people what that essentially is and what that means to you.
Wow. I'll kind of just go really where it started. So I would say a couple of years ago, I was really just trying to figure out, okay, I was pouring so much into like clients and other people, businesses, and I really wasn't getting the results. So I was like, you know what? All that energy that I was giving all everyone else, let me pour it really into me because I was kind of more so behind the scenes. Like although I've been visionary for a long time in marketing, my I'm active visionary, the brand, the business standing alone, not behind the scenes, is only a couple years old, almost a couple years old at this point because I had to reach a point to where I said, okay, this is enough. So I would say what it really means is I know that without having my mind right, my body right, and my soul right, I wouldn't be able to be able to be who I am. So when one of them off, like it's all kind of off. Like honestly, like when I don't exercise or when I'm not eating right or if I'm not meditating, if I'm not doing things to feed myself positive things, it throws me off. I really can't. For me, I can't function in a place of dysfunction. So I have
Right.
to have those things aligned. I feel better when I work out because I like the way I look, so I'm happy. When I meditate, when I'm connected to God, I do better because I know that like okay, it's not just me. I have someone else looking out for me and guiding me. It's not just for me. So and then just having my mind right. I have to have my mind right to be able to talk to people. I have to have my mind right to be able to not take on the energy that they have, to be able to still, um, you know, come with the great energy to be able to produce. Because I say the brand therapist because it's almost like therapy when you talking to your
Mm-hmm.
clients and stuff. Like it's not, it is business for sure, but they're going to tell you about how hard they've been working and what they've been going
Right.
through. So
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like a therapy session when you're doing that as well. So you have to be able to like be personable, but still have that profession about yourself. So, again, mind, body, soul bank is really just about having that balance. It's not going to always be balanced. It's just always trying to keep it there. So I do things to keep me level. So,
Yes.
yeah. So it's eating right. It's exercising. It's keeping my mind right. It's making sure that I'm reading and doing development so I can show up and stay on top of marketing and business for my clients. So I have to have all three of those to make it work. So I believe with that combination, you can't help but to be successful. Not overnight, but if you keep going, it's going to happen. It's a marathon. So keep those things in check. I swear. Exercise is a big part to me of being successful in business. I know it's people that are unhealthy that have been successful. Like, don't get me wrong, but like I feel like you're able to clear your mind, whatever that is for you. It can be playing sports, it can be running, it can be playing volleyball, whatever you do for physical activity to be able to release those kind of endorphins and just get your mind right and think. I think it's so important.
And I think it's a really good way to challenge yourself.
Mm-hmm.
For people who are already really mentally strong, like me, fitness is the one thing that it's like, oh, she might be able to dust me in
Right.
that. Like, no, in a friendly, competitive way. But mentally, I feel like I can do this. I got this. So fitness is a really good way to just kind of consistently challenge yourself and train your body. I read something and it says if you can control your appetite and your eating, you got your body and your mind, you're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
It's all mental. Just think about like when you're running. Like when I first started running, like I realized it was completely mental. Because it takes you a while to build up, but honestly, once you get there, keep going is really all in your mind. If I stop, it's because I really want to. Sometimes I'm not even tired. I'm just like, okay, I want to stop now. But if you can like condition your mind to keep going and just zone in, um, you can do a lot of things. And if you can like even just controlling your diet, like just being able to have self-discipline, that just shows
Yes.
you that you're able to just to prosper. In business, you need self-discipline. You need to know when you need to sit back and focus. You need to know when you need to cut back on spending. You need to know when to implement certain things. So without discipline, like it's not going to work. You have to be very, very disciplined. So I think, like you said, exercising and challenging yourself to reach certain goals or do certain things gives you that kind of mental control to know that you can be disciplined.
Exactly. And I think one important thing about discipline that people like, as you train yourself, I don't want to say as they sleep on, but as you train yourself,
Right.
you really build that endurance that you need to go through things.
Right.
If you say, I am committed to my brand, I'm committed to my business, and you stay consistent with doing that and discipline to your business, when things do happen, that bounce back ability starts to get strengthened because it's like, well, I've been on this entrepreneur sprint for 100 days now, or even, 3 years now, 5 years now. So the ability that things can kind of hit you and knock you down, it's a little bit different as you grow over time, like strength training, you know.
It's like when you make it so far, when you so far in, like even like for instance, you start a diet, you 4 days in, you don't want to mess it up because I can work hard for these 4 days. So even if you wanted to, I would say if it's your divine purpose to be whatever you choose to do, business owner, or whatever you choose to do in life, I think that if you don't do it, it haunts you really. So you have to. It's almost like something that's in you. That's like it's innate. It's a part of why you're here. So when you don't do it, I do think that it bothers you. So it doesn't allow you not to. So whether you take some time away from it and come back to it years later, you're going to want to get to it because it's going to make you feel fulfilled. Like when people, they retire or they finally do what they always want to do in life. Even though it was sleeping in them for all that time, they had to get back to it. So some people just realize that at it earlier than others. I think that's what it is. So even if you want to stop, you can't stop. Like once you hit go, like once you really hit go and people are dependent on you and they're looking up to you and you're like, oh wow, people are dependent on me. I can't let myself down. I can't let them down. So you got to keep going. I don't think it allows you to stop. But I think if it's in you and not on you, you're going to keep going regardless. Even when you hit speed bumps. Yeah. Well, thank you. I think, what is that? Nipsey Hussle for sure with that quote. It's in you, guys, not on you.
I don't be ashamed. I did not know anything till. That time I feel so bad. I'm
Come on
not a
now,
big West Coast.
Texas, big Texas.
Exactly. I listen to everything chopped and screwed. It got to be real slow for
Oh
me to
Lord.
vibe with it. It's a different vibe out there in Cali. But,
Oh, for sure.
I think that's like what you said. Once you hit go, you cannot stop. Like,
No, no.
you show up whether you have a room of 100 people or one people.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's a way that really like will start to set you apart as you're going through your
It
entrepreneurship
does.
journey with other people. It's like this can set you apart because you're literally turning around and it's like, okay, you're showing up for yourself.
Mhm.
Like it was a small event, but she really gave it her all. She was really talking that talk.
Yes.
How important is it to show up?
Oh, it's
You know,
extremely important. I don't care if somebody bought a service on me on a special or they bought it at full price. You're gonna get me. I'm not gonna like it's still my name out there. I'm not gonna give you nothing less than what I would produce. You know what I'm saying? It's still boundaries. But what you get with that service doesn't mean I'm gonna just can we say half ass on here? Can we cuss? But I'm
you
not gonna
can, you
give you a
can.
piece of me. I'm gonna give you all for what the service accounts for. And
Exactly.
sometimes I have a problem with giving too much. So I have to like, okay, let me scale back because I'm excited about what I'm doing and it's just in me. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, okay, I have to chill because I'll keep
Mm-hmm.
going because I'm just into it. But you have to show up regardless. I don't care. It's your name on it. So especially
Mm-hmm.
when I work with other people and they you show up. I don't care what it is. Show up because this is your name. Because that one referral of you doing good work can lead to another one, can lead to another one. And I ran my business, the beginning part of it, all off of referrals, all off of referrals,
Mm-hmm.
because it's just one thing led to the next person. Even now, like I get a lot of referrals, so it's all about showing up. And I'm huge on customer service, so I treat my clients
Mm-hmm.
very, very well. So I expect the same thing when I pay for another service. So if you're
Yeah.
not giving me that, I'm gonna be able to feel it because I'm a type of person I'll go out of my way to support. Like, not even kidding you. Like even when I went to Eastern, which is in Ypsilanti, and I would drive from my house like all the way in Sterling Heights to Eastern to get an oil change because I love the way they treated me. It wasn't even like their personal business. It's just about customer
Folks in Dallas don't know how far that is.
drive it out. It's like, yeah, when you treat people good, it make me want to be around you. If you treat me good, like regardless if I spend my money with you, if you're a friend or if you're a business partner, if you treat me well, it's just what it is. I think it's just an exchange of energy.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, thank
Hey, you definitely
you.
do.
I appreciate that
I
for
agree.
sure,
I
hundred
agree.
percent. You got to show up for your people. I don't care who it is. I don't treat anybody different. As long as you're
Exactly.
work, I like working with the working, but you're gonna get 100% of me every time. I'm not gonna have ask you no time. And that's why I have to be so big on my energy. That's why I have to be so big on like staying on it. That's why I have to be so big about what I allow to enter my circle, who I allow to enter my circle, because like I said, I can't really have people trying to throw me off. And I mean I can bounce past a lot of stuff, but I try to keep, the best energy around me at all times.
So I don't know how many people on here have their own clients, but I have a question. You were talking about watching your energy,
Mhm.
and we can watch our energy and kind of check ourselves, but
Mhm.
how can we kind of check ourselves when it's clients, and they're the ones with
Mhm.
the bad energy, or it may be
Right.
family members with the bad energy? What do you do when it's people a little bit closer to you, you know?
So how do we deal with family members with bad energy?
Or,
You said like I would say for the most part with family members. Well, go ahead, reach and say your question.
yeah, our family members are something outside of your source. Like we can check our energy, but like how would you tell somebody to check energy that's around them? Do they just leave that situation or that place?
Hmm.
Do you keep
Oh,
it
like when I want to give
cute?
them advice on how to get away from like negative energy.
Yes,
Okay, I
yes.
would say like you gotta really kind of. My biggest thing is allow people to go through their process.
Mhm.
So I can give you all the advice that you want to hear or you don't want to hear, but I really respect people process. So when you've had enough. And I think that learning and going through your own thing is the best experience. So I would say whenever I have anybody close to me, family or friends, when they're going through something, or if they choose a route that just because I don't agree with it doesn't mean it's not a good route. It's what they have to go through on their life journey. So who am I to kind of just tell you like, no, this is what you have to go through. But if you ask me, I will tell you in my best possible way of what I feel you should do or what I think you should do. But I always leave it kind of open ended, to allow people to go through their process. So I'm big on processes because I think had I not gone through certain processes in my life, business or personal, I wouldn't know where to set certain standards and where to set certain boundaries. So I always tell them, when you're done with something, when you've had enough of something. So I can't tell you what your limit is for that. So just think about it. Does it make you feel good when you around certain people, or if you have negative energy? How do you feel? Think about it when you come around somebody. Think about how you feel at that moment. You know, are you uplifted? Are you happy when their name pops up on your phone? Like, does it make you excited? If it drains you, like pay attention to how you feel and how you feel, because it'll tell you a lot. I think a lot of times we don't think about that. Like when we pick up, I'm like, oh, you're so and so, but we still pick up. If that's draining your energy, maybe that conversation needs to be cut short, or something like that. But I definitely believe in allowing people to go through their processes. But if they come to me, it's like, what resonates with you? What do you feel? You're gonna get the real, but I'm also respect your decision and what you do and how you choose to, because your process can get you to somewhere way better than my advice.
Exactly. V is so big on that. And sometimes I'll be like, no, I need the answer. But she's always like that. She's never going to say, well, this is what you need to do. She may, in my humble opinion, but that's after you've asked. But she's still going to go right back to, but you have to go through it. You have to experience it.
Mm-hmm.
And when people give you the space to learn and grow, you're able to bloom in a whole different direction. So just having people around you who don't necessarily pressure you to make your own decisions, but give you the best of their knowledge, and they're also sending you good energy. Have those people around you and in your life. That'll really help you go through things. And it's like, dang, I'm going through it, but it's a whole different time having different people here to fill in gaps and to do things a little bit differently. So that's one of the things that I always say. I'm like, oh, V, I've been waiting for you. This connection was something that I was intentional about. So it's really nice to say, hey, we meshed. So when I go through things, hey, can I have your advice on this? But knowing that, like, I'm not that source of draining energy too. You want to watch that. Just because your friends will be there and be accountable. Like, I know V will pick up. Does that mean I need to call her phone with some unnecessary drama that, is two family members and something removed for her? It makes no sense, like,
and I'll
be
be there for
mindful
that
of it.
too. I'm there for that
Yeah,
too.
yeah. And you are. But sometimes it's like, can you deal with it on your own? Because we don't think about how abrupt it is to call somebody and interrupt their day.
Yeah.
As clients, and I mean, as business owners, you have to do it. But when it comes to other people who may not be expecting it, it's like, be mindful,
Yeah. I think I try, like, a lot of times, like, one thing that I worked on, I would say, the past year is kind of seeing what I really thought about a problem first before I try to bring it to everyone else. Because sometimes if you can work it through yourself and, like, okay, let me see. And it's just a better way of getting to know yourself sometimes. Like, okay, I tried this on my own. It wasn't because somebody else told me to do so. And then, but I always tap in. I tap in real quick for advice if I really want it, but I also too, I challenge myself to sometimes just do some work on it and see what I can come up with, just so I can know my voice better. So I can know, like, what my intuition is versus what I'm, like, something else. So a lot of times I take my time with it, like, that's just one thing I'm working on right now is, like, really, like, making sure I know my voice within, what I'm going through. I think that's very important to know your voice. And so you can know, you made the best decision for you, or whatever. Like one thing, like, Audrey Richmond was sharing in business, like she said, a lot of times when you coming up with something creative, like, opinions can be good, but then sometimes it can just stray you away from what you was going to do. So just go with it. And then if it worked, it worked. And if it don't, it don't. But at least it was something that you wanted to do in the way that you want to do it. But that doesn't mean I don't call people and ask them what they think. Sometimes I try to say, let me see what I can do on my own really fast. And then I can add people in. But I think it's so important to know your own voice, knowing yourself, so you can learn more about your boundaries, what you can accept, what you can't accept for business and personal. And hello, everyone that's joining. Alicia, Brittany, two great entrepreneur women. So, hey.
Hey, y'all. And I think like that's really just spot on as you continue
Mm-hmm.
to be authentic to who you are. It starts to set you apart. Like you said, you can't really focus on a lot of other people's voices and a lot of other people's opinions. Like you really have to stay true to you, because God didn't give everybody your vision.
Right, for sure.
So when you're walking around and you're, wanting the approval of others, or do you see my vision? And, you just want somebody to tell you, yes, that's perfect, it's good. Sometimes you got to tell yourself that and just keep going. And then once it's up, say, look, I told you this is what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we're wanting blind people to see our Picasso painting.
They're not gonna
You
always
know,
see it.
no, they're not.
Oh man, if I had a penny for every time my auntie Brenda, I have my master's, right, too, like in business and one in marketing, and she always told me like, so when you gonna start using that degree? Like even from like way like back, even when I just had my bachelor, she's like, when you gonna start using that? Like I had full businesses, full events, like full clients, and it's just like their traditional way of thinking. And I think that sometimes if you're not strong enough, it can bother you, it can irritate you. But if you just hold, true to your vision, you just gotta sometimes keep stuff, with people who are a little bit like-minded sometimes, because our families and the older generations, they grew up differently than us. They grew up from a
Yeah,
working class, so they only know certain things. So they look at it like, went to school and went all that. They look at it like that. I'm like, what? I'm living life on my terms in the way that I want to live it.
right.
So a lot of people don't get a chance to do that. Their career path is chosen, or they have to do certain things, and whatever it is, that's fine. But I want to do what's for me, and then sometimes it's going to be okay for people not to understand that, because it's not meant for them to understand. My auntie still asks me to today, well, what do you do? Like, no
Right.
matter what I do, it's sometimes they get it, sometimes they don't. I just laugh at her all the time. Like, you, at all these years, you still don't know what I do.
Still
I
can't
think it's
catch up.
hilarious.
Like, please try explaining to someone who's been an entrepreneur for 40 plus years what a branding specialist, like branding and marketing, is like, what?
Yeah.
It's on social media. That's not what, no, that's where we make money. I make money on Instagram. Stop
Uh-huh.
playing. And they're like, well, how do because it just hit them so fast, the computers and the social media,
Yeah, for sure.
and they still sharing cooking recipes on Facebook. They
Yeah,
haven't even tapped it.
it's a whole different thing for family. Like, or people that's just in a different generation. Some of them get it, some of them don't. But it's okay. Everybody's not gonna get it.
Yep.
Hey, Britt, she said, "This is dope. Thank you, everyone, for signing or tuning in." But it's okay. I had to learn that. Like, it's okay. But it never bothered me, because I was on my own thing. Because when I decided to become an entrepreneur, it was just like, I'll tell you the exact moment. I was in my marketing class back in my undergrad, and we had to do a marketing project. And this one team, this one guy did one on his own creation. He had like some type of hooded, like a hood you can throw on and walk out in the rain, like, or something like that. And I seen the pictures, and I'm like, we can create our own. Like, I know you can, but I never thought about it that way. So I went out, got out the classroom, called my mom, left this long voicemail on her message. I was so heated. Like, why you couldn't tell me? Like, why didn't you tell me that I can do this for my own self? Like, I had to sit in class. I was about 19 years old. I was literally pissed. Like, and she said she never heard the voicemail. It was at least 3 minutes long. I would never forget that moment. I walked out and I was like, I'm so behind. I was like 19 years old, because I'm like, these people have been doing this for a long time, and I could have been way further. So from that moment forward, I really got serious about marketing, and it kind of just like fell into place. I started working with D Sneak Beats. Shout out to Sneak Beats. She had a T-shirt line at the time, and she wanted my help with marketing. And we ended up becoming business partners, and I met my other business partner. And it just kind of just was a snowball effect after that. So but also I look back at it now, it happened when it was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
So I always look at myself, to me, as kind of like I guess like a caterpillar, if that's the right word. My life is a little bit slower than a lot of people's, but I think it's my pace. It happens like at a different pace. So, but I'm appreciative of the way my life is going, and certain things that I didn't experience early, I think it only helped me,
Yeah.
so, even things now, it's like, man, I wish that, like, it's people that's been in business as long as me, is probably considered further than me, or whatever. But it's okay, because I'm gonna have what's for me. and I'm not really worried about it. And I think that's what's helping, that helps me the most, is that I know I'm always going to have what I want, or what God or universe has for me. So either way, I just pray for whatever path is ahead of me. We can say we want this, we can say we want that, but really it's up to, what's meant for you. So whatever it is, I just hope that I'm fulfilled and I'm happy and I'm loved and I'm showing love and healthy. So as long as I had that, regardless of whatever happens, I know I'm gonna be okay.
Exactly. Well, we love you, sis, because you're valuable. Okay, like that energy. You don't just roll up on a whole bunch of people with that good energy. I had to find you through Instagram in the middle of a pandemic in Detroit, okay, right, to get your tribe.
Right.
But like you said, like that attraction, when it's for you, you can't stop meeting the right people. You can't stop falling into those blessings.
You just do the work.
And just do the work. Just do the work, and everybody will come to you. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
it's really almost like you can't help it. It's like the law of attraction. Mm-hmm. What you're moving towards is moving towards you. Not nothing forced, not nothing that you're chasing, but just honestly doing what you need to do within your industry, what resonates with you to get you to the next steps. And you're gonna start attracting things and like-minded people, or just all the things that you're meant to have.
Exactly.
That doesn't mean it's gonna be easy. I always say that. Don't mean it's gonna be easy. Like, oh, I'm just gonna wake up and everything is gonna come to me. Like, no, you're gonna have things that's gonna teach you something to get, so you can be able to get to the next level. So,
Exactly. And one thing that you said was like, as I'm walking through my journey, to some people I may be ahead, to some people I may be behind, but I know I'm walking as visionary V, and that's the same energy. Like, keep that energy when you're somebody who's hustling it out as an entrepreneur, or you're starting your business, or your business is established, but people are comparing you and things like that. Just stay true to your journey, because nobody else will be able to walk in your shoes. So
right, and I think it's so. I feel like I'm so blessed to never have wanted to be someone else. Like, everyone doesn't always be able to have that mindset, So, like, being able to understand your uniqueness and your value that you bring to this world. Like, it's only one of you, just like it's only one snowflake. God didn't make two. There's only one. You got your own fingerprint. You got your own DNA. So whatever I'm doing has no effect on what's meant for you, and whatever you're doing has no effect on what's meant for me. We all want to get there. We all going to get to where we're supposed to be, regardless. So whether I do it in the next 2 years, you do it in the next 5, it doesn't matter. Because we still got more years after that to go. So it's just continuously to work, put the work in, do the work, and just and be able to go through the ups and downs. It's going to be ups and downs. Some things are going to come easy, some things are going to be hard. But just do the work. Just do the work. That's all you can do.
Exactly. You guys, if you have any questions, we'll now open up the line, I guess, for our virtual line for some questions. So if you have some questions or some comments, make sure to drop them below. Thank V so much for her knowledge during this time. That mindset, those gems that we learned were super duper valuable. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it.
And you do such a good job at, like, I guess, regulating the energy, because I like how you bring it back. You make sure your audience, like, you take what I say, then you make sure your audience heard that. Like, okay, this is what I'm gonna take from it, then go to the next question. So I like the way you do your interview style, Max.
I appreciate that.
I see you. Okay. I can see you on a talk show or something.
Yes,
it actually happened for you, because you got to be a good listener to do that. You have to be a good listener. You got to internalize, like, what they're saying, and you got to get ready for what you're about to say next. That takes a lot.
Exactly. I appreciate that compliment. When I was younger, I used to call myself like Baby Oprah, but she been wilding lately, so I'm just Big Max. I'm gonna just keep that and let that be that. Millionaire Max. But I mean,
Maximilian.
Yes, but I mean, I just think, like, when you walk in your purpose, I've always talked too much, so it's like, it makes sense you go get some money doing what you always got in trouble for, what you got purpose for, talk. That's your gift,
Yeah.
So
whatever natural, and you can find a way to strategize, put it together, and make money, I mean, it's going to be easier for you. And thank you, Ashley. Okay, I think somebody just asked a question. Are you going to read it, or?
Yes, go ahead.
Go ahead, because my thing is kind of like, if I touch it, it's okay.
B Ward Poetry said, should this work be I can do the question thing. Oh, I can't do it. It's okay. Should this work be stressful? If it's stressful, is it for you? Shouldn't you enjoy what you're doing? It's a difference between working hard and working under stress. I get what she's saying. Like, where's that balance at? How do you know, like, what's too much? You know, even though you have clients, like, what's too much?
Oh, a good like when you know you can't do it anymore, you know when you reach your wit's end. You know what I'm saying? Like if you love what you do, I don't know. Okay, we can take this two different ways. I don't know if you're saying it like stressful working with the client or just stressful with what you coming in your field. I can talk about it from both. I would say like within your field and what you're doing, your it should bring you happiness. It should bring you joy to do it. And I think also within that joy and that happiness, you're still going to have moments where you're irritated with it. You don't feel like it. That's just a part of the emotions that you go through in business. Like, for instance, you love your kids, but sometimes they get on your nerves. You know, it's the same thing. You don't quit love, but you love them more than they get on your nerves. So you're gonna
Right.
always be around with it. And I think that when you get to the point to where you love being away from it more than you love being around it, that's when you kind of know maybe I need to take a step back, re-strategize, and see what's for me. Because if I like being away from it too much, but also sometimes we just need a break. And I would say I just like even like when I say grow through the flow, like I just had a moment I'm like, man, like when I put my status, like my things up on my page, a lot of that stuff I've experienced. It's I don't say it's no cap, it's real life. Sometimes I just make it a way to resonate with my audience. Not so, and you know, in a way that they can internalize and strategize and you know do their thing. But you know when if you take a break from it and like take a few weeks and then you still don't want to do it, maybe you need a month. I'm not sure. Do what it takes for you to get there. So let's say for instance, if you need to go ahead and like meditate, paint, read books, listen to music, do those things to see if it takes you back to where you want to be. And if it doesn't take you there and you like I done tried everything, then you know, okay, maybe this life path right here, this career path isn't for me, for
Yeah.
that instance. And then with a client or a person that you're working with, when it becomes stressful, you know, because you don't want to be around them, your energy is shifted. You have to put on a front. You have to, you're just not being yourself at any moment. You know, it just doesn't feel right. Like listen to yourself. Like I said earlier, when someone calls you and how you feel when they call you, like, oh, not this person again. If you feel like that if a client is calling you, then you probably know, like, you know what? Maybe you guys aren't the best match for each other. We're working together. And it's okay. They can, you know, every client is not going to be for you, and every consultant or business owner is not going to be for that client because you can't please everybody, you know. But just keep, just if you know yourself, and the more we learn ourselves, we'll know when to walk away from a business or a client or something like that. So I
Exactly.
hope that answered your
Exactly.
question. Kids was a
Yes.
great example for sure. You love your kids, but they're going to irritate you. You love your baby. Like I get irritated sometimes. I got to take a break and I get in the mood where I don't want to hear another audiobook. I don't want to hear another YouTube. I don't want to read another book. And then I
Mm-hmm.
go do I go do something else and come back to it and then I see how I feel. I don't force it. I just try to learn to say, okay, maybe the universe is working something else out for me at this time, you know. So, but I still have to be present because I still have people depending on me. But I've learned how to still give myself and still take that time back at the same time to be able to get my energy and get in my space of where I can be the best me for me, so I can show up for other people.
Exactly. Exactly. She said it makes sense. It absolutely did.
Yeah.
I'm telling y'all, this is one of my not so hidden secrets. I love putting her on because she's a wealth of knowledge, truly. You know, make sure you find your tribe and people who you can look up to. You know, some people say, you know, network and we want to be with these people who have 50K and this and that and the
Yeah.
other. There are people out here who are doing the work. And that mindset is already on $1 million. So I'm glad I'm
Okay.
connected before that million get there, you know, but
It's on the
that
way.
mindset is 100, you know. So make sure you guys go check out Visionary V. She's the brand therapist.
Thank you.
She definitely helps put that sauce behind all my little signature touches, you know what I'm saying? So she's definitely a wealth of knowledge and some good encouragement. So y'all plug in with her, okay?
Thank you, and
And
thank you so much for having me, Maxie. I'm appreciative to be able to speak because this is when I'm talking to you, it's helping me, and I hope it's helping somebody else. So, it was it's always a good energy exchange when we talk. So, I'm happy as
Absolutely.
well that we ran across each other. Thank goodness. I'm like, let me see.
Yeah.
But it actually worked out. So hey, we locked in.
I'm telling y'all, shoot y'all shots in them DMs, okay? You want a business bestie? Boo, shoot your shot.
Shoot the
All
shot.
right, y'all. We have 15 seconds. So thank y'all so much for tuning in.
Thank you,
Make sure you
everybody.
guys follow Visionary V, follow me at Maxcie Taylor, and we'll see y'all later.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.